Alright, so this video is the next episode on the Cub Cadet 1440 saga. The previous video I went through and I was originally just going to, had a hard time starting it, and I was originally just going to, take the carburetor off and put it in ultrasonic cleaner, clean it out. Found a bunch of actually loose dirt, sediment, looks like sand in the bottom of the bowl, and I was like, holy crap. So while I was taking it off, I just decided to take everything off because I had planned on changing out the head gaskets anyway at some point. So I decided, well, I'll do it now. So I just took everything off, and it ended up being a pretty long video. The things, there was a lot that had to come off, all the skins and the intake manifold, the muffler, and then the rear of the engine, which has the fan shroud and the flywheel and everything. Those little guards had to come off, and so there was just a lot that ended up being pretty long. So I split it up, and so this next video, I'm at the point where I could actually change out the head gaskets. So that is coming up. Alright, let's get these valve covers off, and I hope the gaskets are good because I don't think I have any replacements. There we go. Yeah, the gaskets look really good. They're pretty solid. That's good. Oh. Can't lose that little piece. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take the spark plug off. Damn. The Joker is on there. See what these spark plugs look like. They're blackened, but they're not bad. Yeah, I think I can just clean those off. Not bad, not bad. Get the other side off too. They look about the same. I'll clean them off, check the gaps, and they should be good. let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that it? Just 4 bolts on the... Looks like... Let me get this gasket off of there. Looks like I'm going to have to take the rockers off of there. Alright, so while I was working on it, my AC compressor cut on, and it's awfully loud, so I cut all that out, and I'll just narrate this for a little while. But you can see where I'm loosening everything up, and you want to take the whole assembly off. You know, the lifters there, the rocker arms. You want to take the whole assembly off, and it gives you access to the head bolts that are underneath. The top 2 are underneath there. So, you know, I took my time, and I wasn't in any rush. You know, just make sure on this model it doesn't have those little spacers or caps on the rod, so you know you're able to take it all off, but make sure you support everything underneath. Make sure it's all intact, and you're able to put it all back on. The rods there, I was inspecting them to make sure that there's no damage on the tips. The tips are in good shape. They're nice and straight, you know. And remember that there's a steel and an aluminum one. The aluminum one goes on the intake side, and the steel one goes on the exhaust side. So then you're ready to go ahead and take the head bolts off, and you can see that side there, that was kind of loose. You know, it was not really loose, but definitely not as tight as the other ones around, where it took a little more pressure to break them. But so I'm just trying to loosen them up a little bit, each one, before I just take it completely off. Yeah, you can see I'm pointing out where that bottom left one was noticeably looser than the others, and I just put that paper towel under there because there was a little oil in there, not much, because given that these, you know, the V-twins, they're pointing up on this horizontal engine, so a lot of the oil just drains back down. And so it all comes off fairly easily, and just slow and steady. And I noticed that there was some black, you know, everything was flaking off of it. You know, I was thinking, well, is that gasket material? What is that? And you can see there, you know, there's definitely some carbon deposits, and it was really hard grainy stuff. And you can see there on the right side where the oil, you can see where it's starting to come out on that side. Not bad, but you can tell it's on that exhaust side. And you know, I was looking, you can see the black stuff flaking off of there, and yeah, I was pointing out how gritty the carbon deposit felt. It wasn't really thick, but it was really pebbly, real grainy feeling. And the black stuff there, it's not gasket sealer. It's the finish that was on the head gasket. The finish on it was all flaking off, and they're even on the top of the piston, real grainy feeling carbon deposits on it.
So I was just inspecting everything, but you can see everything on that front side of it where that's where it could possibly have been leaking out of there. Very slowly. It wasn't smoking up that bad, but it was just starting to. So I was just getting ready to clean it all off, and I decided to use, I have this little wire brush that you can see it's round, and I use it a lot on these on the heads and the cylinder stuff, because it seems like it's just perfect size. It usually fits right down in the cavities there, and I can reach the valves and all that good stuff. And this one was kind of tough because there was, like I said, it was just a real hard grainy. I can't say that enough, but just getting everything cleaned off, and I was checking the valves and make sure that they were seating properly. You know, and I can spin them around so they're not stuck. There was no sticking valves. There was, you know, it wasn't that bad. It was both sides just they moved freely, and looks like everything was seating properly. So I just went ahead and started doing on the cylinder side there, and I just wanted to get all that black, you know, everything that was flaking off, get everything good and clean, and then I rotated the engine around, of course, so I can clean the tops of the pistons.
Alright, so I got them. Sorry about all the shadows here. The sun's going down behind me. But you can see I got them fairly clean. The piston head's fairly clean. They look pretty good. The valves here. This one, man, they really went through some crap there. I think I'll clean this off a little better here. But overall, and the valves looks like they're seated properly. You know, I was looking at them pretty close. They were questionable, but this is cleaned up pretty good. I've rotated it around, and you can see the cylinders. There's no scoring. They look pretty good. Well, tell me about it. Yeah. And same with that one, got it cleaned up. Now this one you can see, let's see, here's the exhaust side, and you can see the discoloration here. And I saw the same thing on this side where the gasket was, where it looks like it was blowing out the side here. But yeah, a lot of discoloration there. A lot of heat, I guess. And it was all down on this side. But the other side wasn't like that. There is some discoloration like this, not near as bad, but you can see where. But so I'm ready to put the gaskets on. And these are metal gaskets, so I was debating, should I put some sealant on it? If you look at this, if I can get out of the sunlight, so that's not gasket sealer stuff, that's the finish that was on the gasket. This is the old one, and just like the new ones, it's looks like it's black powder coated, but this stuff, it was all flaking off when I took it off. But there was no sealant on it, right? That's the deal. So I was debating whether to do that, whether to put a thin coat of sealant around it. Alright, so my battery's running down, but maybe I'll catch this real quick. But you see, I did put a thin coat of gasket sealant on each side, and you can see it's just a very thin coating. But I put it on both sides. I figured I'd do that because after cleaning it off and seeing how the discoloration from heat and other factors when I'm cleaning it off with that wire brush, I'm not quite sure say on the flatness of the head and on the cylinder casing there. I just want to make sure, just in case there's any warps or scratches, that they're going to be filled. So I just put a real thin coat, and this is on the other side. You can see I put this one on there already, but my battery is about to go down. Seat the push rods down. Let them sit there. And get your little rocker arms here. And before I tighten them down, just place your push rods into place. Tighten them down. So after I tighten these down, of course, when I'm fine tuning it, you always have to go through and check your check the gaps here. Alright, and let's get the valve cover back on. What was that dropped? That was this little deal. There's two of them. Should be two of them. There it is. These little washers there with the go. The gaskets look good. Alright, so the AC compressor cut on again. So you can see when I'm putting those the head covers back on, the valve covers back on, the washers on there, the washers on these have they're a gasket sealer underneath it also. So when you're tightening those down, make sure they're seated properly and make sure they're in good shape, or that's going to be a point where they could start leaking out. And just make sure everything's lined up properly, and when you start tightening it down, it doesn't take a whole lot of torque. I don't know what the torque spec was on them, but you don't want to just crank them all the way down. I mean, you want to get it tightened up, but you want to let the gaskets do their thing, right? So just don't torque them down until they stop. Alright, so the head gaskets are on. I think they turned out pretty good. We'll see. The next step, I'll probably go through and clean the engine down. I got some degreaser and all that good stuff. I'm going to degrease everything, and then the skins I'll treat for rust. I got some rust spots on the dash console piece here, and I'll be treating rust and getting everything cleaned up and repainted. So that is the next video coming up. So thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and look for the next video.